Hello everybody, Marty the Off-Grid Gecko here. I just got done butchering up this dead tree. As you can see, the bark's kind of falling off the log. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes they die standing, and those are the best trees to harvest because, as you can see, maybe, this is wonderful, beautiful wood. And I'm going to try, I was going to try to get this whole log out, loaded on the trailer, but by myself I can't do it, and I don't have a tripod or pulleys or anything, so until I can make or fetch some of those things, it's my favorite plant right there. Then the only way for me to get this thing out of the woods to manhandle it myself is by breaking it up. So the way that I broke up the rest of the tree, of course, split it into firewood, but this is a good, nice, straight, mostly straight, 9-foot section of log, and I don't want to waste it for firewood. I would like to actually use this. So I thought about it. If I bring the chainsaw out to cut it into boards, then the other end is propped up on a rock, so somehow I would have to wedge this thing up, and I've broken several large branches already just trying to get it on this first log. So getting it propped up on another log probably be a lot of time and toil, and even then I may hit that thing with my brand new chainsaw chain and mess it up on the first day, and I don't want to do that. I already cut a whole tree down with it and chopped it up, and it's good to go, and my chainsaw's still cutting, so I don't want to, I don't know, I just don't want to do it. And I'm kind of eager to get back to splitting these into staves, and maybe I can use it for something, maybe I can't, but for the meantime, I'm going to give it a try, because this log was breaking up real easy, like 4 or 5 swings on one of these stumps, and they just busted apart like magic. So I'm hoping that I can get this done relatively quickly before the sun goes down, but it's probably not going to work out that way, so this may be a multi-episode project. Now for wedges, I brought out my entire armament of every wedge that I have left, as well as all my axes. Even though this guy's got a loose fitting head, I can still use him as a wedge. So I've got my splitter and my Fisker's chopping axe, my Collins boy's axe with the oak handle, and my hatchet, and a number of these little wooden wedges. And I'll probably be making more, so if I do that, I might make that as a separate video too, how to make a wedge, that kind of thing. Now these are old and busted up a little bit, but hopefully they've had time to dry and harden a little bit more. And of the other ones from that group, ouch, I just got a bad splinter. These guys actually cleaned up pretty well even after sitting in the woods for a while. So hopefully these guys will do just as good. So that's what I've got for 1, 2, 3, 4, and this little broken piece of crap. 5 wedges, 3 axes, 1 hatchet, and Mr. Mallet here. And I'm going to get to town on this log. Now there was a little crack right here, and I already kind of tapped into it a little bit, but I'm basically going to follow the line of that crack that was already started in the wood. And then once I get this side popped open, try to follow that split all the way down the log and break it into 2. And if I can manage to do just that today, then I'll be a long way towards finishing, because it's much easier to split these open after they're already popped. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. I may be walking back and forth to the camera. I'm just going to check and make sure that it's not turning off, because it's been doing that. It's fairly cool out here. It's not a lot of sunlight, so it shouldn't shut off from overheating, but just to make sure the camera doesn't freak out or anything, I may stop and start the video a couple times, just to make sure my video comes out intact. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and then I'm going to get started on this. Probably have this in fast forward mode, but I'm going to start with the boy's axe here, just because it's got a nice narrow wedge on it, so that'd be a good wedge to get started. Oh yeah, that's working out perfectly. And I have no leverage because this axe handle's kind of screwy, but my flat side In case anybody was wondering why I put a flat side on this, that's the reason. And this guy's splitting open actually really easy. Get in there. And so basically what I'm doing here, I'm trying to get this line cut all the way through, and it's got to go through this central pith. If you're not in the central pith in the middle, you're never going to get this thing to split properly. But that actually went fairly smooth. Usually these trees, like, I'd be surprised if I can get this thing done in 12 hours, much less a couple hours till the sun goes down. But so far, so good. And light taps will get it in there, and then just drive it home to break that line open. Come on, dig. Dig. Ow. Chihuahua. Alright, that part went fairly easy. Alright, so that right there is basically just starting this split running down the log. I found the easiest way to go in and attack these is usually from the corners. So if I had this laying on its side, then I would actually try to wedge one of these axes in either side and then put a wedge in the middle and try and pop it and get it split in that way. But it's going pretty good. I'm going to leave that there. And so the next step in the process is to actually get a wedge planted in the middle. For now, I'm going to try to get my splitting axe in there, but I don't think it'll go right now. So I'll probably put this bad boy in there, and then I can start continuing down the log that way. We'll see. Restart this. don't know if you can hear it or not on video, but this guy is making lots of snaps and crackles and pops. The end's coming open quite easily. I think I've been out here now for maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And this is by far the easiest log I've ever split in my life to this point. Hopefully that keeps up going. And this joker is just ready to fall apart. So what I'm going to do now, I keep coming back to this little end driver here. The end is going to split easier than the rest of the log. So as long as this guy continues, if I see it move when I hit it, I'm going to keep on hitting it. As far, just drive it home as far as it'll go until this end's completely buried in the log. Like, and at that point, like, I'll be ready to start somewhere else. But I just keep hitting it, and it doesn't take heavy blows. Heavy blows will just break your wedges, but decent, you know. I can still see that guy moving. It's kind of bouncing a little back and forth too, so it's hard to tell, but it's definitely moving. Alright, I think that's about all she'll go for now. Let's see if I get some of these other wedges in or not. So, as you can see, it is a painful process. I think that's about all I got left in me today. I know myself well enough that I stay out here. I'll keep pounding on this sucker till the sun comes up, and I gotta be at work tomorrow, so I'm gonna call it a day. I might split some of that firewood that I chopped up today. I may not. I may just piddle around for the rest of the afternoon, what's left of it, and write my book a little bit, and work on some other projects, but this guy will last. I can still hear it cracking and crackling, trying to make up its mind whether it wants to pop open or something. But you can see, got a pretty good sized gouge in this side. It's just running that line all the way down to the end, and the longer the log is, the harder it is to do. I think it's like an inverse square law, because seems like a log that's twice as long is 4 times as hard. Maybe it's an inverse cube log. Maybe it's 8 times as hard. After the first split, these guys get easier by about a factor of 8. Making the second split. So once you get that first one cut down, like the other ones in comparison feel like they just go pop, 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 and they're just falling apart. With the log this size, it's still going to be a bit of work to get them littler ones going. But I've got there's a knot or something about where I stopped with the axis, and so the crack is taking like a zigzag turn that I wasn't expecting. Because the log looks pretty straight and true, but it's got a little wind in it there at the end. But Doesn't have to get done all in one day. For staves, obviously it's better if I had the ends painted, or if I just maybe came by tomorrow or the next day and slapped some paint on the ends at least to keep it from drying out like too fast. But this log's been dead standing, so hopefully it will cooperate with me, not check too badly. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the house. Pretty much done here. So there was a little failure. If I turn this into a video, I'll probably do a follow-up later, and that follow-up may be me giving up, because last time it was a 12-foot log and that thing about whipped me. I finally broke it up into little 4-foot sections and 3-foot sections and split those instead to make my handle staves. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and thinking back on it, probably would have been less work to break out the chainsaw and saw it into boards, but this is more fun. And these I can always cross cut with the chainsaw. I'm thinking about doing that actually, just taking the big one and cross cutting it this way to make some saw boards with the chainsaw. So it'll have one reeved split end, and then the other ends will be saw cut with the live edge on the outside till I figure out what I'm going to do with them. And this one, I'm thinking of breaking it into small staves. So once I get this broken, then I can split it here, and that'll be much easier. And then break it here and here, split it into like 4 pieces. And there's enough room there, and it's long enough that I can make a bow or just about anything I wanted to make out of it, as long as the grain runs straight. And I don't see any knots on this side, maybe a little bit down there at the very end, but I don't know what that is. That may have been a knot that got covered up over time. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. I'll probably come driving down this road in the morning, it'll just be busted open on its own or some stupid crap. But I don't know. I'm gonna leave it for now. I got to eat and check on the kitties. Start splitting up that firewood, because that's priority. I've already wasted 2 hours on this. I'm kind of giving up for the day. So see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that happy stuff too.